Hello everyone, thank you all for being here today. I'm excited to take you on a journey, one that spans continents and centuries, from a bustling fairground in Chicago in 1933 to a digital frontier in the 21st century. This journey explores how Chinese architectural heritage has been displaced, reconstructed, and reconnected across time and space. Also, it highlights how emerging technologies like 3D scanning and extended reality can help us rediscover lost histories and forge personal relationships with cultural heritage. As we move through this story, I invite you to think about what it means to reconstruct something that has been lost. How do we bridge the gap left by history? And how do these digital reconstructions shape the way we understand our lived experiences today? Let's begin in Chicago, 1933, at the Century of Progress Exposition. Among the grand pavilions showcasing the marvels of modern industry stood an extraordinary sight, a golden temple. This was a replica of the Lama Temple from Chengde, Hebei province, meticulously reconstructed to capture its grandeur. The project was conceived by a Swedish explorer, Seven Hedin, who had a deep fascination with Asian architecture, and it was funded by a Chicago businessman. This replica was more than an architectural showcase. It became a symbol of cultural visibility. At the time, Chinese Americans in Chicago faced severe discrimination under exclusionary laws and restricted their immigration and social mobility. Yet, this replica temple offered a rare moment of cultural recognition in mainstream American society. It provided an opportunity to present Chinese heritage in a positive light, beyond stereotypes. To mark its opening, the local Chinese American community organized a grand parade from Chicago's Chinatown to the Lama Temple, which was located near the present-day McCormick Place by Lakeshore Drive. This event was significant. It was a rare public celebration of Chinese identity in the city, bringing together community leaders, performers, and residents in a festive display of cultural pride. Constructing the temple was an international effort. Architects from Beijing worked alongside local Chicago builders to recreate the temple's grandeur. The interior was carefully designed to reflect its original purpose. Using local collections of Chinese Buddhist statues and ritual paraphernalia, the team recreated an authentic temple environment, allowing visitors to experience its spiritual atmosphere. But what happened to the Lama Temple after the fair? The structure was moved to New York City before being shipped to Sweden, where it faded from public view. Now, let's travel from Chicago to Beijing. In 1929, just a few years before the World Fair, a Chinese architectural masterpiece was being dismantled, this time in the heart of the city. Zhihua Temple, a magnificent Buddhist temple from the 15th century, was in dire need of repair. In a desperate move to fund renovations, two of its stunning coffer ceiling, intricately adorned with miniature palaces and dragon motifs, were sold and shipped overseas. One of these ceilings found its way to the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art in Kansas City, where it has become an integral part of the museum's Chinese art gallery since 1932. It now sits alongside a giant Buddhist mural and a wooden Guanyin statue, creating a meditative space that has deeply resonated with visitors. But little do they know about how the ceiling traveled across the Pacific Ocean, nor the broader trend of Chinese cultural artifacts being removed and dispersed worldwide. This ceiling is just one example among thousands. Across the world, pieces of Chinese architecture and art have been removed from their original sites, sometimes through the legal transactions, other times through looting or wartime plunder. Today, they exist in museums, private collections, or forgotten storage spaces, separated from their historical context. Fast forward to 2019, our team, a collaboration between the University of Chicago and Xi'an Jiaotong University, set out to digitally reconstruct Zhihua Temple. We use 3D scanning to document both the ceiling in Kansas City and the remaining structure in Beijing. Through historical research and digital simulations, we worked on reconnecting these fragmented architectural components imagining how they once coexisted in their original context. Now we are developing immersive experiences that bridge the past and present. Imagine standing beneath the ceiling at the Nelson Aitken Museum. What if, instead of just looking up, you could step into its original temple space in Beijing? In our prototype design, the ceiling acts as a portal, a doorway between two realms. Through virtual reality, visitors in Kansas City could find themselves transported to Zhihua Temple as it existed centuries ago. Likewise, visitors in Beijing could see the missing ceiling virtually restored in place. This isn't just about visualization, it's about reconnection. It's about creating an emotional link between people and places separated by history. Looking ahead, our Dispersed Chinese Art Digitization project aims to build a global database of displaced Chinese artifacts, creating new pathways for revealing interconnected histories. With the help of artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, we envision a future where humanists and technologists work side by side, making cultural heritage more accessible and relatable to wider audiences. We are also inspired by how new forms of digital experiences can shape cultural engagement today. Take, for example, the success of the video game Black Myth Wukong. The game integrates 3D scans of ancient buildings and artworks, allowing players to interact with them in unprecedented ways. Those who explore the in-game virtual landscape may later visit real-world sites and feel a sense of déjà vu, bridging the gap between the digital and physical experiences. In the same way, our reconnections don't just preserve history, it creates new ways for people to experience and feel connected to it. The stories of Lama Temple in Chicago and Zhihua Temple in Beijing are more than just case study in architectural displacement. They also reflect lived experiences of diaspora communities. Just as these structures were uprooted and relocated, so too were many individuals and families whose history are often overlooked in museum narratives. How can we change this and bring art and people together? By reconstructing lost architecture and reconnecting displaced artifacts to their original context, we are not merely preserving the past, we are reshaping how history is told. As David Mitchell writes in Cloud Atlas, our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb, we are bound to others, and by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future. This resonates deeply with the Buddhist concept of karma. Our intentions and actions, whether in the past or present, shape our collective future. The decisions we make today about how to represent, share, and engage with cultural heritage will define how future generations understand themselves. So as we stand in the intersection of past and future, I leave you with a question. How can digital tools not only reconstruct history, but also help us reconnect with it in meaningful ways? Thank you for listening. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and discussing these ideas further.